Hello, mathematicians. Today we are going to continue to solve equations. However, when we go to solve today, we are going to have a variable on both sides. All right. So when I go to solve this, I have to first move the smaller letter over. I need to get those variables on the same side. So when I find the smaller letter, I have 3W on one side and 7W on the other. It really doesn't matter which one you move, but it's easier if you move the smaller one. So if I want to get rid of a 3W, how do I get rid of a 3W? Minus 3W. Three W minus 3W. Cancel. 2 equals 7W's minus 3W's. 4W's. So I move the one variable over so that all the W's are on the same side. Now we can solve this like we have been. This is 4 times W. How do you undo a 4 times? Divide by 4. Divide by 4. W equals, how do you simplify 2 over 4? Divide by 2, divide by 2. W equals 1/2. So today we have to make sure that we move the one variable over so then we can solve. Go ahead and try this one on your own. Get the variables on one side and the numbers that are by themselves on the other. Let's see how you did. So I have a 2x on one side and an x on the other. Which of these two did you move? The x. How do you move an x? Minus an x. What I do on one side, must do to the other. X minus x cancel, so I bring down my negative 24. 2x minus an x. Remember, this is 1x. So 2 minus 1, 1x, bring down the plus 4. Now this is a one step. We want to get our variable alone. So how do you get rid of a plus 4? Minus 4. What do I do on one side? Must do to the other. X equals negative 28. Move the variables all to one side. Solve for x like we have been. Nice job. These next ones have some parentheses that we are going to have to get rid of first before we can move things. So when I look at this, this is the side I must simplify. I must get rid of these parentheses. So that what I have to do is distribute. And remember, when you distribute, to distribute it to both pieces. 3 times 6, 18. 3 times negative 2, negative 6y. So the first thing you must do is get rid of those parentheses using the distributive property. Bring down the left side. Now we can solve. I have a y on both sides, so which one will I want to move? The negative 6y is smaller. How do you get rid of a negative 6y? Plus 6y. What do I do on one side? Must do to the other. What happens with these? Cancel. Bring down our 18. 8y plus 6y, 14y minus 10. Bring down the minus 10. So first we distribute, move over a y, right? And now this is a two-step equation like we have been doing. Get rid of what is not attached. How do you get rid of a negative 10? Plus 10. What I do on one side? Must do to the other. 14y equals 28. And lastly, to solve, divide by 14, divide by 14. Y equals 2. Get rid of the parentheses, move the variables to one side, and solve. Try this one on your own. Let's see how you did. Both sides have parentheses, so the first thing we must do is distribute to get rid of these parentheses. 7 times n, 7 times -1. I have parentheses over here as well, so what do I have to do on this side? Distribute as well. -2 times 3, -6. -2 times +n plus a -2n, or a -2n. Move our variables over. How do I get rid of a -2n? Plus 2n. What do I do on one side? Must do to the other. 7n plus 2n. 9n. Bring down the -7. -6. This is now a two-step equation. Get rid of what piece is not attached to the variable. How do you get rid of a -7? Plus 7. What do I do on one side? Do to the other. 9n equals 1. And what do we have to do to get n by itself? Divide by 9. Divide by 9. N equals 1/9. So distribute first, get rid of parentheses. Bring the smallest variable over so that you have variable on the same side. We cannot have variables on both sides. Solve our equation for the variable. Nice job. The next two are special equations. Go ahead and solve this. Looks a little messy. We've got to get rid of parentheses. How do we get rid of parentheses? Distribute this 5. So we get 5x minus 5. Bring down those other pieces. Bring down the 7x as we become a plus 5x. And bring down this -5 plus 12x. On the left, there's some things I can do first to make this a little nicer. What can I do? Combine like terms. Put the pieces together that have the same variable. 7x's plus 5x's, 12x, and then the rest is the same. I have a variable on both sides. I have this variable on both sides. So which one do I move? It doesn't matter. How do you get rid of a 12x? Minus 12x, what do I do on one side? Do to the other. -5 equals, what happens with these? They cancel. If we get something that comes out to be a true statement, both variables cancel. I'm just left with -5 equals -5. This means all real numbers. Does not matter what value I choose for x, it will work here. Okay? So I could choose 2, plug it in, and it will be equal. So all reals will work. So if you get down to the end and you have something, it is true equals the same things, -5 equals -5, that means it is all reals. Every value will work. Solve this one on your own. Get as far as you can. Let's see how you do. I have parentheses. How do I get rid of these parentheses? Distribute. 6 times y minus 6 times 5 is 30. And I have to distribute over here as well. 2 times 10 and 2 times 3y. Oh, and this becomes 6y. Okay. When you go ahead and move the variable to both sides, how do you get rid of a 6y? Minus 6y. What I do on one side, must do to the other. Those cancel, leaving 20. What happens over here? Those cancel as well, leaving negative 30. This time, these two are not equal. This is not true statement. So if you get something that is not equal, two numbers not equal, no solution. There is nothing that you can plug in here to make that work. Okay? So if you get something that comes out to be a number equals itself, all reals. If you get a number that doesn't equal the other number, no solution. Nice job today, mathematicians.